Access to Democracy is made possible by donations from the following organizations. Thomson Reuters, a global company with expertise and insight to unravel complex situations in the areas of law, tax, compliance, government, and media. Their worldwide network of journalists and editors keep customers up to speed on relevant global events. Thomson Reuters, the Answer Company. The Division Championship Minnesota Twins are looking to go all the way to the World Series in 2024. Bolstered by inspirational shortstop Carlos Correa, a healthy Brian Buxton, and rookie phenom Royce Lewis, plus a pitching staff led by Pablo Lopez and an outstanding bullpen featuring Johan Duran, the Twins are the best bargain in the major leagues, and Target Field is the best venue in baseball. Sheridan Dulas & Kins, PA, a family and criminal defense law firm, has been serving clients in Dakota County and throughout Minnesota for over 40 years. Ranked a Tier 1 Best Law Firm by U.S. News and World Report every year since 2009, Sheridan Dulas & Kins are here to help you in your most difficult life circumstances. Established in 2007, 45th Parallel Spirits was among the first 50 micro-distilleries in the United States. Based in New Richmond, Wisconsin, all aspects of production occur at our facility. If you're interested in visiting and learning more about the 45th Parallel Distillery, please check our website and plan a visit to tour our facility and taste our spirits. Truestone Financial, with locations in Minnesota and Wisconsin, has proudly served its members since 1939. Truestone engages, educates, and supports its members to ensure they have the tools to empower their financial well-being. Truestone Financial, your neighborhood credit union. Learn more at truestone.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Access to Democracy. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bill Raker, your host for this edition of the program. I'm really fortunate and very happy to have two spokespersons from the Alzheimer's Association of Minnesota and North Dakota on the program today. We've got lots of questions for these ladies, so let's introduce them and get the program started. So first we have Heidi Haley-Franklin,
Franklin.
Yes. And Jennifer Hendrickson, right? Yes. So I'm going to ask both of you ladies to explain what your role is with the organization, and then just add on to that, what sparked your interest to get involved with such a really important organization with a mission that is so critical to the health of many, many people in our country. So Heidi, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, my role at the Alzheimer's Association is to make sure that people who have questions about memory loss or dementia, or maybe they're looking for a resource or support, my job is to make sure that they have access to that information. And I'm really proud of the work we do at the Alzheimer's Association. We have great programs, which I'm sure we'll talk more about today, but we really want to make sure that people are armed with information and support when they're faced with this journey with Alzheimer's.
Which is a really important service, and I know we're going to emphasize that some more as we get further into the program.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in doing this kind of work with the association?
Yeah. So I think back and really when I was in 6th grade, believe it or not, I was in school one day and I think I was coming back from a gym class or something, and my teacher pulled me aside and shared with me that I needed to kind of pack up the things that I brought with me to school that day, and I was confused. It was the middle of the day, and he shared that my mom actually was coming to get me because my dad, my 45-year-old dad, had had a heart attack and was in the hospital. And you can imagine a 12-year-old's brain at that point wondering what's happening and, mom coming to get you and all those things. And it was a really important part of my life because I got to see at a very young age the importance of caregiving and juggling all the balls of trying to figure out, details of my dad's recovery. The good news in the story is that he survived his heart attack, and, our family kind of went back into a homeostasis, I suppose. But she dealt with a lot of things, and I observed that at a pretty young age. And kind of fast forward, when I graduated from high school, I knew that I wanted to help caregivers and that I really wanted to be that supportive person, that advocate for them, and eventually got my degree in social work and found my way to the Alzheimer's Association. Is what we do is support people who are impacted by dementia and memory loss.
Well, a very serious and impactful motivation to take the career path that you have.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Jennifer, let's hear a little bit about what your role is at the Alzheimer's Association and what sparked your interest in this career path.
Yes, so I am the director of the Walk to End Alzheimer's in the Twin Cities, and my role is really to be out in the community. It's to connect with individuals, make sure that they know that the walk is here so that we can fundraise dollars for the support services that we offer, and make sure that families know really that we have those support things that we offer to the community that we're going to talk a little bit more about, but really being present and connecting with families like my own who have gone through this journey. But my interest really sparked right after college, and I was in the hospitality industry. I was also booking events and organizing events and then volunteering in my free time. So when you put all that together, that is really what a fundraiser does. You bring the community together, you throw events, and you really have that hospitality in the spirit of connecting with families.
So all of these experiences kind of brought it together for you, and you said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Well, for both of you ladies, we're just so thankful that you have the roles that you have and the work and services that you provide to people who take advantage of what the organization has to offer. And we want to get back certainly to talk about the Twin Cities Walk, because I think that's one of the more fun activities that your organization is engaged in.
Yes.
So Heidi, let's get back. How did the Alzheimer's organization get started?
Yeah, good question. You know, back in the 70s, there was not much information, support, research, discussion really about dementia or Alzheimer's. So in 1970, I believe is the year, our founding president, Jerome Stein, was faced with his wife's diagnosis, and she was diagnosed, and he really started a global conversation about the disease and really talking about research and support for families. And at a local level in the 80s, there was a group of family caregivers that were kind of having a similar conversation. And they, in the Twin Cities area, got together and created the Minnesota chapter of the Minnesota North Dakota chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. So it's a really grassroots organization built on personal connection and just this desire to help people impacted.
So that's how it got started. What's the mission?
Yeah, the mission is to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia, and we're really excited about that. I can think about 16 years ago when I joined the association, we had a couple of treatments or a couple of medications to help with some of the symptom management, but we're really excited to share that we have 2 approved FDA treatments for people living in the early stages, and there's just a lot of help and hope when it comes to all things research in terms of working with families and supporting those who are impacted by the disease.
So of the many programs that the organization offers, what are the fundamental areas of work or resources, services that you provide?
Yeah, there's so many great free resources at the association. I would say that the first way that people oftentimes find us is through our 1-800 helpline. It's our 24/7 helpline number, and it is answered by clinicians day or night. People can call and ask questions about latest research, or they could ask questions about how to approach a specific issue with someone that they might be caring for, or even students who are working on projects related to brain health. We have information about that too. So the questions really are kind of all over the continuum of types of support we can provide there. It's also available in over 180 languages, so we speak multiple languages on the helpline, which I'm really proud to share with others, and just a lot of great emailed resources and printed resources, brochures, and that type of thing. So we have a lot of opportunity with the helpline.
Extensive and comprehensive,
yes,
it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's get into the weeds just a little bit about the association. Tell us how it's governed, how it's staffed, how it's funded, those kinds of things.
Yeah, so we are a national organization. We're a nonprofit, and our corporate office or our headquarters is in Chicago. We have a national board, and they are, responsible for things like governance and fiduciary responsibilities. They also help set strategic direction for the organization across the country. And then locally in Minnesota, North Dakota, which is the chapter that we both work at, we have several offices across both states and a number of staff that work out of those spaces. We also have a board. It's a local board made up of people from both of our states, Minnesota and North Dakota. And they help us with getting connected to maybe corporations or other organizations, sort of helping us get connected maybe to health care systems and organizations. And they really help support the work through all of our events and things like Walk that Jennifer will be talking about.
So it is a nonprofit organization,
Yes.
Is that right?
That is right.
Yeah. How's the local board selected?
Yeah.
How does a person be tapped to serve as a
Sure.
director?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We as staff people, when we're talking with individuals in the community, we're having, deeper conversations about what's important to them and how they might be interested in volunteering with the Alzheimer's Association. And if it seems like, they sort of fit the profile that they might, first of all, be interested and passionate about helping us move our mission forward. And they may have an interest and maybe some experience at that level of engagement throughout the Twin Cities or throughout the chapter territory, then our CEO has a conversation with them to see if they might be interested in potentially joining our board.
So if any of our viewers have an interest in that, they should contact the association and let that be known. And we have contact information scrolling on our web on our screen that directs people to the organization. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
We talked about the staff, the local staff. How many people work as staff members, and how many are volunteers? How do you rely on volunteers to support the organization?
Yeah, in terms of staff to volunteers, we have a lot more volunteers than we do staff. We couldn't support our work without the volunteers. So all of our volunteers support us in a number of ways, whether that's through our programs, whether that's through the events that Jennifer works on, through our advocacy efforts at the state and federal level. So in terms of numbers, we have probably around 40-ish staff, and then volunteers, we're in the hundreds of volunteers that support us.
All across the state?
All across
throughout
both
the
states,
state.
yes.
And again, if any of our viewers are interested in volunteering with you, they should call the number or go to the website and let that be known. Well, it is the Alzheimer's Association, but Heidi, help our viewers understand the distinction or the difference, if there is, between Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, it's probably one of the top questions that we get on the helpline and in events and programs that we deliver. And really, Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. So we think of dementia as an umbrella term, and it's a set of symptoms. Oftentimes people notice memory changes or memory loss, confusion, but it's so much more than that. It's judgment, it's making decisions, it's visuospatial maybe challenges. So the best advice that we have is if you notice any changes in yourself or in your family members, is immediately have a conversation about that and encourage them to reach out to their healthcare provider for cognitive screening and assess what might be causing the symptoms that they're seeing. It's oftentimes, if you think about cancer, that's sort of an overarching term, and if you said you had cancer, the next question would be, well, what kind of cancer do you have? And in this particular case, dementia is pretty much similar in that respect. Is if you have dementia, the next question would be what is causing the dementia?
So if an individual or a family realized or became aware of something odd or unusual, or maybe what was represented in some of the factors that you described, could they call the association and talk to someone and say, I could use some guidance in helping understand what's going on here and what I should be doing next. Is that a service?
It is. So on that helpline that I mentioned earlier, people can certainly reach out and talk with one of our staff about symptoms that they might be noticing within themselves or within family members or friends. The other way is we have a really robust website that offers lots of great tips and resources, including our 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's. And so people can certainly look at our website and learn more about the symptoms that are consistent with the disease.
It seems like we hear more and more in the media about the prevalence of Alzheimer's in our society, around the world actually. How prevalent is it here in Minnesota?
It's a really good question. And in Minnesota, there's 102,000 people that we know of that are diagnosed with Alzheimer's or another dementia. And if you think about that and you add in the unpaid caregivers, which is around 164,000 unpaid caregivers, that's a pretty large population of people that are impacted in some way or another. And we also know that, unfortunately, dementia, Alzheimer's, and other forms of dementia isn't always either diagnosed or shared with individuals living with the disease. So we're doing a lot of efforts through our health systems change work to help providers and help health systems realize that people deserve the right to know what may be causing their symptoms.
So this next question really is a good follow-on to that. How important is it for early detection of the possibility of Alzheimer's or dementia? And tell us about some of the new treatments that are becoming available for the early stages of the disease.
Yeah, we are really excited because we are living in the era of treatment. Like I mentioned earlier, we have 2 approved treatments now that actually help slow down the progression of the disease, with lots of positive results coming as a result of that. The situation with those treatments, though, is that they are only for people living in the early stages of the disease. So in terms of importance of getting that early diagnosis, if people are getting early diagnosis, then they would have access to those treatments that are available right now.
Well, that's really important to understand. Like you said, the medications are most effective when the early onset of the condition is recognized. So it's really important that people detect it early.
Yes.
And take appropriate steps after that. Heidi, I want to come back to you a little bit later, but I want to go over to Jennifer now and talk with Jennifer. You're in charge of the Twin Cities Walk, right? And I want you to tell us about that, because I think there's something special there about the size of it and the impact that it has.
Yes.
So tell us about the walk.
So the Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest fundraiser for Alzheimer's research. And we're really proud here in Minnesota to host one of the largest events. We have a goal this year to raise $1.5 million at our event in the Metro.
Just the walk itself has a goal of 1.5 million, you said?
Yes, just the walk here in the Twin Cities.
What have been some of the funds that you've raised in previous walks compared to what the goal is for this year?
Last year we raised just over $1.2 million.
And so the bar goes up every year, I guess, or something like this. Yes.
The bar goes up, but we're really proud that overall, we have over 600 walks across the nation. It is held annually, and last year altogether we raised $100 million across all of the walks. So that $1.5 million goes a really long way to help with the care, support, and research that we offer for our local Minnesotans.
So that defines for us that this is a big deal.
Yes.
Right? What part do you play in that? What are all the things that you have to do as the person who's the director of the walk or something? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So I'm out in the community quite often. As I said earlier, I'm really talking with families and making sure they know they can sign up for the walk and come out. We have thousands of people at the Twin Cities Walk that come out we'll be out on September 21st this year at Target Field. And it's a family-friendly event. It's very inspiring. It's a morning of hope. And my role is really to bring everybody together. Like I said, I love to bring events together and community together. And it's a morning where I can do all of that, inspire hope, and bring those funds together for all of the resources that Heidi mentioned. But I also work with volunteers. The number of volunteers that we mentioned in the hundreds, it takes hundreds of volunteers the morning of the walk just to make that event happen.
Do you have enough volunteers for this year?
We would love people to register.
Well, I hope some of our viewers are motivated by listening to the stories and experiences that you're sharing with us, and that they want to get involved and they contact the association to say, hey, I'm available, take me, right?
Yeah.
So do you have celebrities or notables that come out and participate in the walk? And if you do, who's going to be on the A-list this year?
Well, we have a very lovely program during the Walk to End Alzheimer's that morning. And Carla Holt from Care 11 will co-MC with Gabby Del Morel from Telemundo, Minnesota. And they will be out with this bilingual in Spanish and English program the morning of the walk. It's a live program. And then after that, we take to the streets of Minneapolis. And we walk either 1 mile or just over 2 miles through Minneapolis. We close the streets and go from Target Field down to Loring Park. And we are just excited to be out. And oftentimes, Carla and Gabby will be walking alongside us with all of their purple on too.
So what's the number in a typical crowd that gets together for this walk?
So last year we had about 6,500 people at the event, and this year I'm expecting 7,500 to 8,000 people at the walk. And people can register their friends and family or their coworkers, and as a team or individually, and they can go to alz.org/walk to register to join us or volunteer with us. Like I said, it takes hundreds of volunteers that morning to make the event possible. As you can imagine, if you're throwing a party for 8,000 people, you need a few people on the back end to make that happen. So hundreds of volunteers signing up on our walk page. And at alz.org/walk, you can find your closest walk.
So it sounds like a lot of work for some folks like you, and a lot of fun for the 6,500 or 7,000 people that show up to be a part of it. What is it about the walk that is the fundraising part? The FUND fundraising part.
I love that we can say it is fun to fundraise, because it is. And it's really approachable in any way that you connect with what you're already doing. So there's a lot of people that will put together dinner parties, or they will share on social media, like on Facebook. And the wonderful thing about when you register for the Walk to End Alzheimer's is that you get your own personal fundraising page. So when you sign up, you get your own page, you can customize it, you can share your story, share a picture of you and your loved one if you're walking for someone particular, and then you can share that link out, so then you can connect with your network and either ask people to walk with you or ask them to support you. And we do have people that send letters in the mail too, which is, it's fun to receive mail. So that's the fun part of fundraising.
Sure. And the fact that you're able to have contributors personalize their web page or their story or whatever it is that they're sharing is really a great idea. I'm sure that in itself motivates a lot of people to provide support and contribute to the fundraising that you do.
Yes, I personalize my own page.
So I think you mentioned that there are corporate supporters. Care to mention some of the platinum organizations, gold and silver organizations that are your key sponsors?
We have many wonderful partners. Many organizations get involved. Edward Jones has been a national partner of ours for many years. They're a very strong partner across all of our walks. We also have local partners of all sizes, so companies of any size can get involved. And we have such as United Healthcare, Monarch Senior Living, Ebenezer's involved. We're very happy and thankful for all of our partners, because they also get their employees involved.
Sure. Well, how many years have you been organizing the walk,
So
Jennifer?
I've been organizing the walk for 2 years now. I've been in the nonprofit space for over a decade, so not my first go at it. But, I have an interesting background that I attended the walk for 2 years before I really dove into the Alzheimer's space. I was invited out by friends to join the Walk to End Alzheimer's in 2018, and then I didn't have any connection. I didn't know much about dementia, and I said, sure, I'll come out and support you. You've got a grandparent or a parent that's living with it, and I got to see this big, lovely walk and be a part of it and see it from the streets as we walked through Minneapolis. And then I was very grateful to have that information because in 2020, my grandma was diagnosed. Mm-hmm. So I knew exactly who to reach out to, and oftentimes people that come to the walk, it is their first time that they're talking about a diagnosis. It's the first time that they're really opening up with their family. They're looking for more information, and I was thankful to have that. I was able to call our CEO and say, what do I do? I don't know what I don't know. And she came and talked to me and really made me feel more confident in taking on the diagnosis with our family.
So this personal experience that you've had with your family really helps you connect to the mission of the organization and to be energized to do all that you can. From your walks as a participant in the walk and as the director, do you have a favorite memory or experience that you could share with us?
I have a lot of favorite memories, but what I love about the walk is the inspiration you see and the love that you see in people's eyes when they come out. There are tears that morning because people may have seen somebody last year at the walk and got to reconnect. And for me, I often talk to people on the phone or I answer emails. I don't get to see people in person until walk day. And then I get to meet them in person and either give them a hug or take a fun picture. And those are really the moments for me that walk day is one of my favorite days. And I am, in multiple ways, counting down the days until September 21st. But I am really excited for walk day because I just get to see, it's like a big reunion for everyone to come out with your closest thousands of friends.
You get to take a day off after the walk is completed?
I sleep a lot after the walk. I do.
Heidi, let's come back to you for a couple of questions. It's the Alzheimer's Association of Minnesota and North Dakota. We haven't mentioned North Dakota yet in our discussion. What's the tie-in or the connection, and how do the two states work together in this association?
Yeah, we work really closely together. Actually, we have a team of staff, much like in Minnesota, that deliver programs and services to all corners of the state, as well as volunteers that help support the work. And individuals like Jennifer in Jennifer's role planning walks across the state and helping us with our advocacy efforts. And we really do work cohesively and collaboratively across state lines and find that even though states may be different and resources are different, obviously families are different, there's a unique set of experiences that might be similar in a lot of ways. People are struggling with similar types of things, and we find that by working collaboratively, we can help potentially solve for some of those challenges.
We have less than a minute left in our program today. Jennifer, a final word from you, and then Heidi, a final word from you.
I'm just really excited for Walk Day, and I would suggest people to go and register at alz.org/walk.
Yeah, and I think that if you or family members, friends are impacted or have questions about memory concerns, the Alzheimer's Association is here to help and support you or family in whatever way we can.
Well, we appreciate the time that both of you have given us today and the information that you shared with our viewers. Our guests have been Heidi Haley-Franklin, I want to make sure that I get this right, and Jennifer Hendrickson with the Alzheimer's Association of Minnesota and North Dakota. Thank you very much for joining us, and if our viewers are interested in volunteering or supporting, the information is on the screen. Thank you all for joining Access to Democracy.